Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you for taking some time out of your day today to hear about the opportunities that we'll be presenting today. We're super excited to be partnering with Natural Products Marketer Group, and it really falls in line with how we really want to support independent retailers in 2025. So we have a lot planned. And Tina, if you don't mind, would you go to the next slide? So just to remind you, Vital Planet is all in on the natural channel and independent retailers. Some of the examples of how we like to support you is probably best demonstrated with our 0% MAP policy. So as many of you might know, we don't allow any discounting of our products online. Everything has to be sold at full retail. And the reason for that is because we really want to keep business in the independent retailers. We want them coming back to you for the product. We don't want them searching online for a lower price and not returning. In order to do that, you'll notice that we have direct distribution that's very controlled. So there's no sales to Amazon third-party sellers, because once you do that, you really lose control of your pricing. We also don't sell to any other channels. We don't sell to food, drug, mass, or club retailers. And we really strive to enhance what you already do really well. We like to call it your superpowers. So that's education, consultation, and personal service. And really, we want to be easy to do business with, which is offer you unparalleled customer service and ease of doing business. And so anyone that has worked with us in the past knows that we offer things like magic coupons, and they're magic because they don't have to be redeemed. They're discounted off the invoice so that once you redeem them with the customer, they can just go right in the trash. So it's things like that that we want to do to make doing business with us easy, make you thrive, and really have a great 2025. So I'm Ted Constantine. I'm the Director of Sales, and I look forward to everything that Tina and Amanda have to present to you today.
Thanks so much, Ted. We love working with Vital Planet, and for all the reasons that you've already mentioned. And I can't wait to introduce you guys to a co-op program that Vital Planet is sponsoring on your behalf to help you implement some of the marketing tactics that we're going to talk about today. So stick with us to the end. Even if you've been here before, I do want to let you know that we've got updated content and some new content. If you've already seen this presentation from maybe last quarter when we had some different marketing tactics that you could do for 2025, we have updated this presentation. So there is new information. So make sure you stick with us through that. And just a quick agenda of what we're going to cover. While we're here, we're going to go through about 35-40 minutes of content with you, basic case studies of what we've seen in some stores, working with Vital Planet to help increase store revenue and profitability, as well as customer retention. And then we're going to answer a lot of your questions at the end of the webinar here. So if you have questions as we're going through this content, please go ahead and post it up in the chat. And we're going to get to those as many as we can during the time that we have together. And also after that, if we don't get to your question, we will reach out to you personally for sure. But just to get us started, Amanda and I will introduce ourselves because you might be thinking, like, what do you know about retail and doing marketing in independent retail sales channels? But what we'd like to start with is just a brief story about what 2025 or what 2024 looked like. And in quarter four of 2024, national retail numbers were down by 3%. Now, some of you experienced some things that were different, but you might have seen a little bit of a lull, especially in November, December. And some of that's attributable to the shorter period that we had between Black Friday and Christmas. That's what a lot of the retailers are saying, but even 2025 doesn't necessarily look that much better. And so when you're thinking about whether retail sales are down, or if we look toward 2025 and what those numbers look like, retail sales being predicted around less than 2%. then you're probably wondering, like, how are we going to survive? And so the story that I have for you today is there's always urgency that is, if you're a business owner, you know there are urgent things that come up all the time. And what we want to get out of is that survival path, because whenever you're only working on the things that are urgent to you, you're definitely in survival mode. And most of the time, when you end up in survival mode, you go backward or you end up in a different place than you wanted to be by the end of the year. And sometimes those survival moments happen. So we were talking to someone a few years ago, and they said, look, we want to get into marketing our business. We know it will help us grow, but right now I have to replace an air conditioner. And being in a similar situation myself right now with my residence, I just found out about this. They're very expensive. And my residence is much smaller than most of your stores. So I know this is a big expense that can come up and really hit you in the gut if you're not prepared for it. It's an urgent thing that has to happen in order to keep your store going. But while you're delaying working on marketing or growing your business, that means you're actually giving up that revenue, which compounds year on year. This is like what everyone talks to you about with 401ks and that sort of thing, is that when you give up that revenue, you're actually moving backwards instead of forward. And so if that happens one month, it's not a big deal. But if that happens month after month, and we know how easy it is to get into that survival mode because things like air conditioners come up or someone gets sick and they can't come to work anymore. There's always something that's on that survival path mode. And what we would love to do with you is help you avoid air conditioner problems all the time. We want to get you out of that survival mode and into thriving. So one of the things that we want to talk to you about today is, what does 2025 look like for retail? And in-store growth is projected to be less than 2%. And e-commerce is projected to grow 10%. But that's mostly projected to happen in Amazon and Walmart. And grocery stores are now investing in health and wellness. You've seen it happening over the years, but it's really becoming a category of interest because it's growing so quickly. And especially right now, it's the beginning of the year. Everyone's trying to get their health in order. So this is a hot market for health and wellness products. So I'm painting a little bit of a grim vision for you guys for 2025, but what we are bringing to you today are 3 paths where we feel like you can thrive in 2025. And I'll tell you that while fourth quarter was down for most retailers, the clients that we were working with are up 15, 20% during the fourth quarter. And so we want to share what we've done with others, with you, with brand replacement opportunities, brand promotion opportunities, and also new categories. So with that, I'm going to let Amanda introduce herself, and I'll just let you know that I started Natural Products Marketer as the marketing agency about 10 years ago. And I've been working with Amanda for about 7 or 8 years of those, because she brought me in when she was first working with a particular retailer. And then she's taken me everywhere that she's gone since, and referrals have happened from there as well. And so I've been working in this business for about 7 or 8 years, mostly with Amanda. So lots of experience in this category itself.
Hey everyone. So like Tina said, we met 7, 8 years ago when I was at this health food store in Tennessee. And as soon as I brought Tina in to help me with this project, and she knocked it out of the park, I immediately thought to myself, this is my girl. I'm going to stick with her for as long as I possibly can. And like she said, I've taken her everywhere since. And about 2 years ago, Tina asked me if I wanted to start a podcast with her for Natural Products Marketer. And at the time, I was running a busy store here in Sarasota. And I was like, well, why not? I have all this free time. Haha. So I joined forces with her on this podcast. And a few months in, she was like, you're really good at helping one retailer at a time, but what if we work together and we could help lots of retailers at once and do it together? So here we are. We're working together full time now and partnering with companies like Vital Planet to bring you valuable resources to help you grow your business. And what makes us different than maybe other marketing agencies that you may have encountered before is we take a full strategic approach to business and marketing. And what I love to think about it as is it's very similar to what you guys are doing in your health food store. When a customer comes in and they're talking to you about maybe they're not feeling their best, they have all of these different symptoms, you're taking a holistic view of their health and you're getting to the root cause because you know that, yeah, you could maybe offer a product suggestion, but it's when you ask the right questions that you really understand exactly what's going on. And that's what we like to do in our business as well. So when we start working with a retailer, we look at 14 different areas of marketing and business so that we can understand where you are and where you want to go and how we can help you get there. So we're looking at things like your revenue, your profit margins, your pricing and promotion strategies, your inventory, how your store is laid out, and then, of course, your marketing activities like your website, your social media, your emails, loyalty programs, all of that. And when we understand where you are, we can better understand how to get you where you want to go and what levers we need to pull and what buttons we need to push to help you get there. And so we want to dive into 3 of these activities that you can do to help you thrive this year. And what we found is brand replacement is an issue that all retailers have to deal with at some point or another. And there's different reasons why this happens. And sometimes it's really scary to do. Other times it's kind of just a necessity that's just part of being in the business. But I want to highlight 2 different retailers that have done brand replacements really well by using Vital Planet products and kind of what that looked like for them and how you could apply that into your business. So the first retailer that I want to talk to you about, for years and years, they had Nutrigold as their #1 fish oil supplement. And for those of you that are familiar with that brand, they had fantastic products, but they unfortunately went out of business in sometime in 2023. But before they went out of business, they were dealing with a lot of out of stocks. And for all of you, you know how valuable that top shelf is in the omega section. That's one of the highest moving products in pretty much every health food store, but this one especially. And so as soon as they were experiencing out of stocks for a few days, they were like, we can't do this. We have to be proactive and do something about this. So what they decided is that, you know what, while they're sorting out all of their issues, we're going to make Vital Planet Omegas our #1 Omega moving forward. And, you know, we can reevaluate if we need to, but we have to commit to this. So they replaced all of those empty shelves with Vital Planet Omegas, and they made a commitment. This is what we're doing. It's not our #1 yet, but it will be very, very soon. And here's how we're going to do it. So shelf placement, #1. #2, we have to educate our staff and we have to educate our customers. And how are we going to do that? So by being consistent with staff training, by inviting Vital Planet in to do education and making sure that they invest in their staff, they were able to get them all up to speed with everything they needed to know about what differentiated these 2 products and how they could sell it. The next thing is customer education. So they invested heavily in their marketing through email, through social media, through their website to make sure that the customers were well aware of this brand. And you can see that from January of 2023, before they made this transition, they were doing about $7,000 a month in Vital Planet sales. But fast forward 12 months and they're doing over $27,000 in sales. So a huge jump. And that doesn't happen by accident. That was very intentional through all of those things that I just explained. And what's been really cool to watch is how they've continued that growth all through 2024 and into 2025 already. So one of the most critical things with that in any brand replacement is shelf placement and signage. You have to have top shelf, eye level, just really engaging signs to draw people into that area. Keep it well stocked, as clean as you possibly can, and try different things to get people interested in that product. So you can do different things like shelf talkers, you know, hey, you're looking for this Omega. Oh, we don't have that anymore. Try this one instead. And you could use that on physical signs in the section or through digital signs at your register or any TV screens that you might have. But signage and shelf placement are going to be essential to make this work. Another retailer that did a brand replacement was under some more difficult circumstances. I'm sure many of you have encountered this situation in your stores where brands that have historically supported you as an independent retailer all of a sudden aren't supporting you the way that they used to. And so this particular retailer, back in spring of 2023, they made a decision to cut their number one probiotic line completely out of the store, and establish Vital Planet as their new number one probiotic. And similar to that last example, they made a statement. This is our number one suggestion moving forward. You have to make that commitment, and you have to make sure that your staff is on board with that. And so do everything that you can to get your staff invested in that transition. But this particular store, they had no grace for this brand anymore. They were done. They were over the games. And so they were like, you're off the shelf immediately. You're put in clearance bins. We're done. They didn't do the whole progression of, oh, we'll move you to the bottom shelf and, give you some time. We'll sell through it. They were like, nope, you're done. So they were like, we have to be very aggressive in getting people to switch over to Vital Planet. So they did 3 months of back-to-back crazy promotions. I mean, BOGO freeze, all sorts of things like that, and blasted it everywhere they possibly could to get customers to make that switch. They had to make it easy. They had to make it more affordable than the previous brand because they had to get that quick switch. And they kept that price roughly the same through that promotional period of those 3 months. Typically we're not going to recommend 3 months in a row of crazy promotions, but in this case, desperate times called for desperate measures. So you can see how they grew. From June, they were doing $2,800 a month before that promotion period started. And by September, they're at $8,300 a month. And now this store is doing $8,000 to $20,000 a month with Vital Planet. So exponential growth, and it stayed sticky with their customers throughout all of 24 and into 25. And so what I want to encourage you with is, by doing these brand swaps, though they might feel scary, they might be under less than ideal circumstances, and you might be trying to figure out, what's the best way to go about doing this, you can turn what could have been a negative and turn it into a positive overall for your store. So Tina, what are some of the other best practices that stores can do when it comes to brand swapping?
Well, just like what you were talking about, Amanda, is being the trusted advisor is just, there's no replacement for that. So if you're not already the trusted advisor in your community, you're probably moving backwards in your sales anyway, because that's exactly why people come to stores like this, just like Ted was talking about, for the education and the consultation and the community. So one of those things, and all of these really go together. So being that trusted advisor means that when you do make a swap, people will follow you instead of sticking with things that might not be working as well for them, or that just don't operate in a way that's ethical for supporting this industry and for your retail environment. So they come to you because they value your services. But if a brand does not value the amount that you should be charging for your services, if they're not going to support that and support this channel, then your customers will understand if you are transparent. So we like to say, talk about it. And we've got this great video here, and I'm hoping that it does play as expected today. Ha ha ha, I think it might.
Nutritional had to remove Bragg's liquid vinegar from the store. When I opened my store in 1979, one of the mainstays was Bragg's vinegar in the bottle with the mother, made for about 100+ years. Unbelievable as far as anecdotal, and now research has shown that vinegar had so many health benefits, but we pulled it. We pulled it from the store shelves of Nutritional World. Why is that? They sold out to a capital investment company. And I've been in this industry, like I said, 45 years. 95% of all companies who were homegrown, who built a wonderful business on ethics and fantastic quality, it almost always decreases within the first 2 years of that capital company buying it. And it did with Bragg's. I'm so disappointed. Customers were telling us constantly, it looks different, it tastes different, it's lighter, it doesn't have the same benefit. I wasn't feeling as good. So we've replaced it with two that we know that have the quality at this point. Cadia, we dealt with them for many years, and SoulSpring, which is actually part of Dr. McCullough's organization, and I use their olive oil. It's amazing. So please forgive us if you come in and you're like, hey, where's Bragg? I'll go somewhere else and buy it. I'm just telling you, if you ever tried this, or if you ever had an old bottle of Bragg and you compared it, it's not the same. Just terrible how the big business doesn't seem to line themselves up with the ethics of the homegrown Paul Bragg, their daughter, Miss Bragg, who died recently, I think. But I knew Paul Bragg from the early days in the 70s and 80s. Amazing individual. I think he lived about 90 something. But we have had to remove it, and that's the reason. Thank you.
So as you can see, that was very transparent. And if you didn't know that Ed was Southern before, you know now with the dadgummit. But he had no problem saying exactly what happened and why he made the switch. And people followed. The sales absolutely followed what Ed advised to do because he is the trusted advisor in the Chattanooga area. And that will be the same for you. And shelf placement and promos and incentives and all these things that we've mentioned are important. And when we talk about promos and incentives, and if you want to do this quickly, doing the 2 to 3 month promos are fine. We don't advise doing them for any longer than that. But all of those things are just supplementary to whether or not someone trusts you as their advisor and whether or not you are their community where they come to get education and whether or not you're the authority. So investing and becoming that trusted advisor, working in consultations, building a community that people want to come to and that they trust, that's when you can be transparent and do the shelf placement, do promos and incentives, and people will follow you in spite of the fact that things might be a little bit more expensive for them or look different. You know, people don't like change. But just plan also, unless you do this, we even thought it was crazy, by the way, some of your guys are going like, they put things in the clearance bin and just put new stuff on the shelf. How could you do that? It was extreme and it worked because they did it. But if you're not ready to take that plunge, these things do take time and it's normal for them to take time. So you don't have to judge yourself harshly if you don't just do this full crossover to something different. You can do a staged approach and it does work very well for you. And now we're going to hop into doing brand promos and moving your business forward with something that you've already got happening in your store, but you just haven't been promoting it or communicating about it. And it's a case study from Betty's Health and Wellness, and Tammy's with us on the call today and has offered herself to that you guys can contact her after this is over. If you have questions about how she did and what she's still doing today, she would love to hear from you and chat with you about how she's growing her store, because it really is an amazing journey for them. And they've used Vital Planet along the way. Vital Planet is one of their top producing items in the store now because we started doing some of these marketing activities together. And I have to just say, Tammy's been very brave, by the way, because we've made a lot of recommendations around these brand swap ideas and putting things forward. And she's just been like, yes, this makes sense. Let's do it. Let's move forward and let's grow together. And so it's been lovely working with her, someone who's so enthusiastic about growing their business. And one of the things that we did was started doing brand promotions with Vital Planet. Now, there was not a ton of communications going on in the store prior to this. But once we started communicating, and maybe we could have just communicated about the product, but it was so great that we had something to communicate about. So when we come into stores, we take a look at it, and we are going to increase the cadence and consistency of communication. But it's so much better when there's something going on in your store that we can communicate about, whether it's a promo or a demo, or there's a community event happening, education. And Tammy did all of the above. And you can see that we started doing things May, April, and just had this huge jump April, May, and had this huge jump in May once we started doing these consistent activities. And we jumped in revenue. So you can see the revenue growth from, this is Vital Planet, from 2000 to, $4,200 in revenue, but the profit also spiked as well. So she maintained her profit margin while she was making these swaps over, and while some of the Vital Planet product dipped a little bit. And just remember, people are typically buying in 45-day cycles. So you can see it's been sticky even with a few dips along the way. And TV's continued to communicate about what's going on. So what did we do? Initially, there was a 1-day promotion, which gave urgency. Like, there's a deadline, you have to come in and get this. A 1-day flash sale on a day where you don't have a ton of traffic can be really great if to give people a deadline, because that creates some urgency about come and do this now. We did email and text announcements, and as a result of some of this growth, there are even more emails and texts, people who have signed up for text messages as a result of pulling more people in the store with some of these ongoing communications. So, and Tammy's got people in her store doing social posts, and we added events to Google My Business. And one thing that I would love to highlight about Google My Business is your store can show up there. You can get a lot of testimonials on it, but you can also add these events so that when someone is looking for what's happening in, insert your town's name, then you're going to show up on Google search. You'll show up in maps if people are looking for events, or if they're just like, what's happening in this town, that helps you show up in search as having your events listed in Google My Business. We added those events to the website as well. So if people came to an event and then we're like, hey, what else is happening in that store? They can either go to Google My Business, or they can also hop onto the website and just see what's happening. Sandwich board posters, television monitors. We used every single tactic that we could in order to make this a success. And Vital Planet pitched in helping do brand related workshops and in-store gut checks, and now have worked in training the Betty's team on, hey, here's how you talk to people about their gut health, which is really successful and is going to move them forward in 2025 as well. But look for opportunities that create things like this Father's Day feature, where it's context specific for the person and for the time of year or what's happening in the world. So for Father's Day, we featured a Vital Planet product because it's specific for men, and it just got easier to shop for dad. And you're having a wellness product right in front of people as well. These context-specific things help people realize that you are meeting them where they are in that moment. And the more personal that you get with your marketing, the more that people are going to sign up for, buy from you, and participate in your community. So this is just one way that you can do that. They had samples, and then again, Vital Planet contributed this gift basket, and they were able to do an exciting thing like come and buy from us today, and you get put into a raffle for this gift basket. So while everyone was slowing down toward the end of the year, Betty's was turning up the activity. And one thing that worked out really well in their favor, and Terry might not necessarily agree that this worked well in their favor, but October was anniversary month, and it meant that they got really busy. She did such a phenomenal job of reaching out to different vendors and creating excitement in the store through demos and other educational events that were going on that entire month. And I think every day she was changing signage out and doing new things. And October turned out really well for them as a result of having a lot of activities going on. So they were able to make that happen and featured Vital Planet as part of that, and kept the Vital Planet thing sticky in the store. So you might be thinking, what's next? That feels like a lot of the marketing activities, but the good news is it's getting more and more, as Tammy's grows the Betty's brand, they're going to get more and more focused around how they do different marketing activities. And one of the things that they're doing is because they believe in the Vital Planet Gut Renew product so much, and they believe that everyone can benefit from it, especially this time of year. They're asking people if they know that they have the Gut Renew product. And this can look one of two ways. And I've got some stats to share with you about how this works. But if you're in a retail situation and you walk up to someone, and this is also going to work for the next thing that we talk about, like new product lines, but did you know we have this new thing? 20% of questions, of did you know questions, convert into a purchase. So if your employees are trained to get in there and say, did you know, did you see that we've got this new thing? Do you have a dog? Did you know that we have dog stuff? Then that can convert 20% more purchases. And we're all trying to build bigger baskets. There are a few ways that you can grow. You can attract more people into your store to purchase more often, or you can have people purchase more while they're there. And this is a way to help people purchase more while they're there. And when we were talking about this, Tammy was like, I know I need to get into cross-selling or upselling, but I hate that term. And I understand it feels dirty if you're just trying to sell someone something they don't need, but you're not really upselling. You're giving people something that they already need, and they will thank you for it in the end. I love when people are like, hey, did you need this thing? And it is something I've been thinking about. It's something that's been on my list, which kind of brings me to the 80% of people. If you're doing this in a consultative approach, which you guys know exactly how to do, 80% of the people that you talk to about this will convert. So when I talk about doing this from a consultation approach, instead of saying, did you know we have this thing? And you don't know anything about why they're there, you're talking to them about why they're there and then leading them on a journey that takes them to the thing that they really need. So in the case of the Gut Renew, this, and I do believe this is one of the reasons that Tammy's chosen Gut Renew as one of the products to offer to everyone that comes in the store, is because there's so many applications for it. If you're feeling lethargy, this is a great product to add. If you have been on antibiotics, this is a great product to add. If you're looking for probiotics and prebiotics, this is a great product to add. If you've got mood or focus problems, this is a great product that will help support your mood and focus. And so there's so many applications to the Gut Renew product that it's easy to say, hey, are there any health goals that you have for 2025? And almost every single one of those, this product will apply, because we are starting to understand better and better this relationship between the gut and all of our overall health. So this is a perfect one. And it's not a $5 ad. So a lot of times you're at the register and you're like, hey, did you want a bottle of water with that? And maybe it's a $3 or $5 ad. You are really increasing a basket size. If 80% of people are saying yes to this product, you could be doubling your basket size with this one product. So this is so easy, except you're dependent on the people that work for you to be able to do this. And one of the things that they need to be prepared for is that people are going to say no. So if we look at these batting averages, when someone says, did you know we have this? Your team needs to be ready for 8 out of 10 people to tell them no thanks. And no is a rejection, and that can feel really scary. But if you talk to your team about it, like chase 8 no's, because you're going to get 2 yeses out of that. So every no that you hear, start counting it. And then you're going to get 2 people that are saying yes. Just if you're saying, did you know we had pet products, or did you know we had this probiotic? And then the 80% of the time, they only have to be prepared for 2 no's. If they're really doing a consultative approach, which is how you guys are training your people every day to do this, then you're only going to get 2 for every 10. So it feels so much better to get 8 people saying yes to you versus 8 people saying no out of 10. So these are tactics that you can use with the people that you're training, but it does require training. One of the things that we know about selling is that salespeople only talk about products that they know and understand. So if there's any level of discomfort with, I just don't understand this product, then they're not going to offer this as an upsell or cross sale to people. Even if it's a consultative approach, if they're not sure about the product, they're not going to do that. And I think Vital Planet is among the best manufacturers to come in and help get your staff trained. They have an education system online, and people even get rewarded for doing the classes. So there's almost no better manufacturer that you're going to work with than Vital Planet in helping get your team up to speed so that they can offer this, and you can watch your basket size grow and you can watch your revenue grow with this. And I'll tell you, I was taking a look at the numbers last night, and Betty's is on track for their biggest month with Vital Planet because they've started adding this as a routine. And they just started it, and they have some new employees even, but they are doing very well in the month of January. So we're only 7 days in looking at revenue for that. And just remembering that training is key. But once you've done that, that's an owner's obligation. You have owner's rights and owner's obligation. It's your obligation to make sure that your employees are trained. But once they are, you have the right to ask for the same level of customer service for every single one of your customers that come in the door. You have the right to ask them to execute this so that there's the same feeling of community and consultation with every single person that comes in the door. So I know a lot of times we talk to owners and they think, man, my people won't do this. It's your responsibility to hold people accountable, but you have the right to ask for this. And why is that? Because you got into this business to help grow your community and to help others around you. And you cannot help others well if people don't have a consistent experience when they come in. So if this is a product you really believe in, and you believe that everyone should try this product because it'll be good for their health, then this is something that you can require from your employees, because that's your right as an owner to create that community so that you can help people. You're not hurting them, you're helping them. So that's one way to grow with a brand like Vital Planet. And just remember this. The law of the universe is you cannot communicate and connect more and not grow your business. And what I mean by that is the details are in the consistency. And if you measure people doing this activity versus the success that comes out of it, the money will come behind it. So communicate more, connect more, be more proactive in the way that you interact with your customers, and your business will grow. Okay.
Yeah. And one other way that you can grow is through new categories. So I want to tell you about a store that's grown their pet department to over $600,000 a year. And like Tina said, this happened through consistent communication and just showing up. So this store started out their pet department in 2019, and we kicked it off and we felt really good about it because we did $2,600 the first month. And maybe for some of you, you might say that I've never hit that, and that's okay. But they were all in on pet. And so we felt really good about $2,600 until we didn't, because we couldn't move the needle beyond that. So for 4 months, we couldn't get above that benchmark that we had set. And so we kind of had a heart-to-heart with the owner of the store because he was not happy. He's like, I've given you 4 months. We've, given you all of the shelf space. We have a dedicated employee. Like you said, this would work, and it hasn't. Like, what's going on? I even gave you my freezer space for your dog food. Like, what is happening? And, we had to have a reminder that with anything new, especially in marketing, you have to allow 6 to 12 months to just test the waters and constantly be fine-tuning and tweaking what you're doing in order to just raise awareness and get something off the ground. So we convinced the owner to stick with us. And by the end of that first year, we were doing $8,000 a month in pet sales. And we felt really good about that, but we knew that we were just scratching the surface, no pun intended. So we kept doubling down on our marketing efforts, and we can go to the next slide, Tina. This is what it looks like now, but it wasn't what it looked like when we started. We eventually added more square footage as demand increased, and we we started being more strategic with our marketing efforts. We added a pet segment to our email list because we knew that we could blast to all of our customers that we had these products in the store, and that was great. But we weren't converting the way that we wanted to until we started targeting the pet customers specifically. So we pulled the reports and we started emailing those customers directly, and our click-through rates went up on our emails. Our conversion rates were a lot higher, and the sales reflected that. We then started adding in pet-specific events. We did like a pet wellness fair, pet adoption days, and pictures with Santa, all really fun things to get people into the store and experiencing what we had going on. And sales kept going up and up and up, $1,000 a month every single month for 2+ years. And then we really, really got rolling when we got into these one-to-many referral partners. So what I mean by that is having one resource, like a holistic vet, that's going to bring you through their network all sorts of new opportunities to reach their customers, because you've developed a relationship with them. They're going to bring their customers to you. And so we found as many of these community partners as we possibly could, between the vets, the dog groomers, dog trainers, dog walkers, showing up to different community events, even just setting flyers in restaurants that had little beer gardens where you could bring your dog, all sorts of things like that. And what I absolutely loved seeing was kind of the transformation of this store, because they were already a destination for health in their community, but they then became a destination for pet health. And so the word was getting out, and customers were starting to come in specifically for pet. And then their eyes were open to this whole world of human health that they had never really been exposed to. So then they just start feeding off of each other. And so they've grown their customer base by having this new category and really, really getting behind it. And you might be thinking, Amanda, this sounds great, but I don't have that sort of square footage. But you can start small. That's what this store did. And it still feels like a health food store. It just happens to have a pet department. But like Vital Planet has their pet care center that's just a great little size to get you started. And these small sets are actually working really, really well. I was talking with a retailer that they have a lot of the Vital Planet pet products in their small pet department, but it's way across the store from their wellness department. There's no staffing over there, but they're somehow still doing $800 to $1,000 a month. And there's no marketing, there's no support. And I was like, wait a second, what if you actually started advertising that you have this, and started communicating with your customers and helping them in the aisle? And they were like, yeah, we could do more, but it's $800 to $1,000 of just it selling itself. Like products, these products are things that people really are looking for their pets. And like Tina said, one of the best things that you can do is just ask the question, did you know that we have these pet products? Because 20% of people are going to buy just from asking that question. So I'm going to turn it back over to Ted, and he's going to explain just how big of a category this could be, or what it already is becoming, but the potential of what it could be in your store.
Right. So we just want to put a few statistics out there so you could really start to get a feel for the opportunity that there is in pet. So if you think about it, in the US households, 65 million households own a dog. So if you think about that, it's almost 50%. So if you think about 2 customers walking in the door, one of them owns a dog. Think about that. So 50% of the people walking through your front door own a dog. About a third of them own a cat. In 2023, $147 billion was spent on pet products and services. That's a lot of money. And if you drill down to the individual US dog owner, they spend about $2,500 a year on their dog, whether it be pet services and food and care and all of those things put together, about $2,500 a year. And pet supplements are projected to grow by about 10% next year. So there's huge opportunity out there. And if we could go to the next slide, what's driving that? So the first thing that we know is during COVID, there was a huge adoption of pets, and particularly dogs. So there's increased pet ownership at levels that we haven't seen before. In addition to that, there's a trend for pet humanization. So what we mean by that is anything that the pet owner is doing for themselves, let's say a gluten-free diet, then all of a sudden that gluten-free diet becomes important to do with their pet as well. So they're doing the same health precautions and preventative that they're doing for themselves with their pets. And then there's also a trend towards preventative health awareness. So it's not just, what's happening today, but how can I make sure the hips and joints of my dog are going to be healthy in the future? They're great now as a puppy, but I want to have some preventative some protocols in place so that the digestive health is there, the skin and coat is there, hip and joint is there well into the future. And so we can have a nice long life with our pets. And then there's also a shift towards natural and organic products, again, paralleling what we're doing with human wellness. So Amanda and Tina have kind of touched on this all already. Awareness is going to be key. So if you think of it this way, shoppers at natural product stores already have an awareness about, hey, I know supplements are important. So that first hurdle is there. They're shopping in your store. There's a good chance they already believe that I should be taking a supplement. I believe in supplements. I believe in their benefits. And all we have to do is make them aware that that's available for their pets as well. You can be successful as long as they know that you have them. So Tina and Amanda brought up asking the question, do you know that we offer pet supplements? What we would also say to add on top of that is, can we make sure they're in front of their face? Like they have to be in an open area where they're aware. Not only does a sales associate tell them that you have them available, but they can see them. So when the pet supplements aren't successful, and we work with thousands of retailers, and sometimes they say, pet just doesn't sell well for me. But what you find is their pet section is in the back of the store. It's not getting a lot of attention. It's not in a high traffic area. It might be at the mop line, right? So they don't even know that they have the products. But once they get placement with a display center like the one that we're showing to you there, where they see that, wow, I take glucosamine for myself, but I should be thinking about a hip and joint formula for my dog. I know my breed has that particular problem and I want to prevent that in the future. Or I take a multivitamin, maybe my pet should be taking a multivitamin. But it's about making sure that they know that you have those available. On top of that, you could say with this display center that the consumer and retailer education booklets are down the side of it, as well as the books on the right-hand side. That's a full book that we offer that Brenda has written in conjunction with one veterinarian. And the sturdy metal construction is great because you can move it. First of all, it won't get banged up with shopping carts. It's very durable, but you can actually move it to like a high traffic area. We have a lot of our retail partners move this into like a deli section or a lunch area during a high traffic time and then move it back to where it normally lives. So we could go to the next slide. Thank you. And then finally, we're going to support you with not just pet, but with everything. We have, as you saw, a product education center display. We have sandwich boards that you can put outside if you're able to do that. We have plenty of consumer literature, including magazines, booklets, single page sheets that you can bag stuff to really, again, create awareness. So we'll provide as many as you need if you want to bag stuff for a week. So every person coming through the register becomes aware that you have pet supplements available or, also human products as well. Brenda Watson has a number of best-selling books that we offer with promotions as well. And then one thing I really want you to know is where other vendors might be kind of cutting back on their education opportunities, we're investing heavily. So we have outside educators that travel throughout the country. They're available to offer consumer lectures and staff trainings, and they visit most areas of the country at least twice a year. And then we also have a whole inside team here that's dedicated to contacting any of our retailers that participate in promotions or new products to make sure that they're educated on the product and feel comfortable selling it and can recommend it easily. And then, of course, we want you to have confidence in anything that you bring in. So like if you were to try a pet display and you weren't quite sure, if it was going to work out for you, we offer everything with a 90-day sell-through guarantee, as long as you've taken the time to get your staff trained, because we do want to set it up for success, and education is such a big piece of that. So we do offer a 90-day sell-through guarantee with education. Okay, and the next slide. Back to you.
Yeah, we want to highlight that there's such power in consultations, whether it's becoming that trusted advisor or just creating this connection and community that people are so hungry for right now. And what we'd love to see in the best possible world is that retailers, manufacturers, and practitioners come together to create success. And that's one reason that we've partnered with Vital Planet, because they are absolutely working for your success. And it's what we're here for, is to help retailers succeed as well. Just remember that people are looking for advice from you. That consultative approach, it sells better. It's going to help your numbers grow better, but it's really what helps people better as well. And that's probably why you got into this business. Why you got into this business was not to run a company or own a company. This is a story we hear all the time. What you got into this business for was to help your community. And just know that the things that help your community best also help your revenue best as well. And so there is a cost for just staying in that survival mode rather than moving forward and investing in your own growth so that you can help the community around you. So I want to keep moving back toward that point. Is you got in this to help people. The only way for you to do that is to be a thriving business. And what we're bringing to the table for you right now are just resources to help you do that, tactics that you can implement as soon as you walk away from this webinar today. And we also just have different resources that we'll share with you today. But what we want to leave you with is that you don't stay on that survival path. You don't let air conditioning problems keep you from thriving in 2025. There are tactics that you can take home with you today, and resources, like I mentioned. We've got free resources for you, which include a Q1 marketing calendar that features ways to use brand promotions with Vital Planet. We've got social media templates, email templates, and print materials. You can either use your phone right now and scan this QR code to get to the place where you can enter a form and get those resources sent back to you, or you can use that URL that you see on the screen today. And the final thing that we want you to walk away with is to know that there's a number of ways that we can help you grow. And one of them includes a very generous offer from Vital Planet and the team to sponsor part of your marketing costs. So if you're interested in having us help you reach some of these great numbers that you're seeing on the screen that we've seen with other people, whether it's putting in a pet department and watching that grow over the next 90 days or a few years even, or you just want this brand to help you grow your revenue numbers, we are here to help and we're happy to do it. And Vital Planet is willing to, for the first 10 of you who qualify, they're offering 50% toward your monthly fees for 90 days, which is just such a huge contribution. I can't even believe that they're willing to do this, but they're so invested in this community and so generous with their time and with their money and just their investment in growing your store, that they're willing to do this. So if you'd like to schedule a consultation, we can go through all the requirements for Vital Planet products that need to be in your store, how your store is operating right now, the different software that you're running on, just to make sure that we can help you within a 90-day period, then feel free to, again, scan that QR code with your phone or go to the URL that you see on your screen. And we will absolutely be emailing this out to you. After this webinar is over, you'll get this webinar video so that you can view this again. And also we'll send out the links to all the resources and the forums, just in case you want to hop on a call and get in touch and schedule. It'll just take about 30 minutes for us to go through that initial consultation. And then we're happy to help you grow any way we can. Even if it's just through free resources or just through this webinar, we're here to help retailers just like you grow. And thank you so much, Vital Planet, for allowing us the opportunity to share this information with people, and for being such a great partner as well.
Thank you.
Amanda, you have any final words?
Well, just thank you all again for your time today. And you can be expecting that email in the next about 24 hours. We'll have that out to you all so you can share that with your teams. And we're just really excited for the opportunity to work with as many of you as we can.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, feel free to follow up with us as well. You can respond to the email that we send out with the webinar. And we did look through the questions and we answered those in the chat that people had while we were going through the webinar. But if you have any others, we're here to help serve you. So thanks for making the effort to be here today. Thank you for spending your time with us. We know it's valuable to you, and we appreciate all you do to serve this industry. Talk to you later.